G'day Bomber fans, happy Thursday, unless it is Friday when I release this, then happy Friday. For me it's Tuesday, I'm recording this a bit early, I've yet again sent in some equipment to be fixed during the week, sorry about that, but I thought I'd make a video for the later days after my preview and talk about our injury list a bit before the game against Sydney this weekend. Big game coming up, a lot of players missing though, so let's get into it. Let's talk about the injured guys on our list and the guys that we could potentially be seeing in action for the first time this Saturday as well. As always, it's in order from longest to shortest term. Jaiden Hunter, really quickly going to skim over this because there hasn't been much news. He obviously did his ACL in the preseason. Out for the year because of this. Not much more to it right now. Might be some updates in a month or two if he progresses well, I guess. Kaine Baldwin and that stress fracture in his foot. The timeline is 12 weeks, which happens to be around the time of our bye halfway through the season. So that's the goal. Get him right by then. With stress-related injuries, it's a lot of rest and not much work. So the big part of it is what you do when you are fully healed, regaining fitness, match fitness specifically. So that's why I think the bye is the goal for a long-term injury like this, so he can be right for the second half of the year. No rush. Get him back with some wiggle room if he isn't fit in time for whatever game it would have been in 12 weeks, if you get me. Tex Wanganeen and his foot. Now, this is a weird one because at the start of the year, well, not even actually the start of the year, but during a match sim about a week or two before the practice match against St Kilda, he was actually hoping to be back by round 3. Fast forward to now, and he's still 4 to 5 weeks off, so his progression has stalled quite a lot. I think it said 4 to 6 weeks before the season started, if I'm not mistaken. So really unfortunate for Tex, who is in his contract year and really just needs to get on the field as soon as possible, but right now he is at least a month away. Reid has unfortunately done his hamstring, and it's not good news. At first it seemed like hamstring tightness or awareness, as they say, but Reid has been ruled out for at least a month, 4 to 6 weeks. This will be more clear once he begins his rehab and they can see the progression of the injury, but really it's just super unfortunate for a guy who has had plenty of long-term injuries in his short career and hamstring issues as well. We just want to see him get a clean run at it, so I fully expect the club to be more cautious with this one, seeing as he has a history. I'd say it's probably going to be closer to 6 weeks than 4 is my gut feel. Unfortunately, Guelfi also suffered an injury in our win against Hawthorn. He has a calf strain. It's graded as a minor strain, so he will only miss 2 weeks, probably, maybe 3, if the club decide to take a cautious approach with it, and I think that's probably the go for a lot of these injured guys, especially early into the season. I look at the return date and add another week, usually, just because that is what has happened already in season 2024, so bad news for Guelfi, who was one of our best against the Hawks. Ridley is getting closer and closer to returning, which is good. He had that quad injury against Geelong in the practice match. It comes after he injured his quad last year against the Bulldogs, the same quad but a different part of it, which is the only silver lining out of this injury. Now, he is a couple of weeks off now. He should be a test in time for gather round. That would be a big boost in time for a big game. Darcy Parish could be available this week against the Swans. He is labelled as a test on the website. I'm not sure though. It was only last week he was ruled out. He will need to feature heavily at training this week to prove himself match fit. But as we know, Scott won't rush anyone back. My gut feel is that he has another week off so he can be fully fit, not at risk at all for his first game of the year. Muscle injuries aren't ones you want to run the risk on, but then again, the club knows better than us outsiders, so they will make the right call here with Parish and his hamstring. I reckon Sam Draper will play this week against Sydney. He has now had 2 full VFL games as he returns from his long-term groin injury. He was declared available in round 1 by the injury list left by the club, but obviously he played in the VFL. But now I think we will see him actually available to play his first game of footy for the Essendon Football Club, not just the VFL. And finally, Shiel. He's a funny one. He was declared available last week, I think, but he is probably still potentially behind Parish on terms of game fitness. He did play full minutes in the VFL, which is great. He is back playing full games, which means a lot, but because he was sidelined for so long with that foot injury, or 2 foot injuries actually, it might take a bit longer than usual for him to be back in the AFL. So he is technically available and healthy, but I wouldn't be surprised if he plays in the VFL again just to build fitness, kind of like what happened with Draper. Those long-term injuries, you get 2 full games in the Rezzies before the AFL, and it's important for a powerful player like Shiel to be 100% match fit when they come back. So that's my gut feel. So here is the full injury list. A few players available, which is great. One is a test, some right around the corner. Fingers crossed this list halves by round 3 or 4. And the guys that we should be seeing soon are very important to the team. You look at those names that could potentially feature this week: Draper, Shiel, Parish, and then the guys guys that we could see within the next fortnight. Redmond back from his suspension, Ridley from his quad maybe even Matt Guelfi if he makes a fast recovery. You take those guys off the injury list, and the only other best 22 player on it is Reid. So it's pretty lengthy right now, but if we get through these next games unscathed, it should look a lot better. So all of you should be touching all the wood you can in these next few weeks. Go crazy, cross every finger, and hope that we don't get any more injuries, and hope that the ones we do have, they get better fast. But that is all. A quick little injury update. Depending on when I release this, you may already know who is playing this week and who is not. Keep in mind, if anything has changed in the last few days, it's because I recorded this earlier in the week. But that is all. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and go Bombers.